The payroll management system will allow your office to maintain employee payroll information. This system has been customized to meet the needs of many different types of users. Time clock import procedures, export procedures for creating files that can be imported by other systems, and many customized reports are incorporated in payroll management. SoftWorks provides customization for your specific requirements. Sick, vacation, comp, personal, and holiday time is color-coded on the transaction detail so it can be easily spotted. Demographics, year-to-date information, and balances are tracked by the system. You can also track employee deductions, offered overtime, and leave requests. There are many different types of reports available in numerous formats in payroll. Payroll transactions can be created by daily worksheet entries or by using the default hours per day and default pay type in the employee master file. Voucher entries for each account can be created in the government accounting system. This system is very flexible and can be used by many different types of payrolls. A quick start menu will be displayed when you start the program. The quick start menu contains most of the options required for running the program. Select System Variables form from the Quick Start menu, or you can also select the System Variables form from the System menu. On the System Variables form of the Payroll module, there are two data location fields. Choose the appropriate folder that contains the payroll data and accounting data. The values may be the same if all data is located in one folder. In addition to the data location, choose your preferences for the other variables available. Choose the number of decimals to be used for rounding sick, vacation, and comp time earned. Choose how sick and vacation earned should be calculated. The options are constant, use standard hours, can fluctuate up or down, and can fluctuate down only. The comp time earned calculation defaults are double time for Sunday hours and time and a half for every other day. Change the multiplier here if your calculations are different. You can also choose whether comp and overtime hours are included when calculating sick and vacation earned. You can enter the next available employee number to be assigned to new employee entries in the employee master file. Bonus time titles can be changed to personal if you do not use bonus time. The data files used by the payroll management system can be accessed from the Quick Start menu or from the Data Entry drop-down menu. The first file we'll discuss is the Pay Types table file. This payroll system tracks 9 standard types of pay, but unlimited miscellaneous pay types can be created and tracked. There are 10 cost categories in this system, one for each of the standard pay types and one more for all miscellaneous or custom pay types. Totals for each of the cost categories are maintained in the employee master file. The cost category is simply a means of grouping the pay types. The cost categories include regular, sick, vacation, comp, bonus, holiday, business, unpaid, other, and miscellaneous. You can create one or more pay types for each cost category. If your wages are paid from multiple accounts, you will need to set up a pay type record for each account. This is a sample pay types table file. In this sample, there are 9 pay types set up for the regular cost category. Each pay type comes from a different account. There is one pay type for bonus, business, comp, holiday, other, sick, unpaid, and vacation categories, and 2 pay types set up for the miscellaneous category. In this sample, an employee's pay always comes from the same account, regardless of the cost category. Since this is the case, only the regular cost category records need account numbers. If there is not an account number in the pay types table file record, the account of the employee's regular pay type will be used as the account number, regardless of the cost category. The account number is only necessary if it is different than the account number of the employee's regular pay type. After setting up the Pay Types table file, you will want to begin making entries in your Employee Master file. The Employee Master file should have one record for each employee. There are 8 pages on the data entry form for the Employee Master file. This is the Demographics page. Enter the employee name, social security number, address, and other demographic information on this page. For hourly employees, enter the hourly rate and overtime rate. These rates will be the default rate for all hours entered using a pay type with a standard category. The miscellaneous and miscellaneous overtime rate fields can be used as the default rate for all hours entered using a pay type with a miscellaneous category. Enter or select a standard pay type for the hourly employees. This pay type will be the default pay type for the employee and will contain the account to be used for the employee's wages. For salaried employees, enter the base gross per pay period and leave the hourly rate fields 0. Enter or select the salary account for the salaried employee. Click on the Balances tab to display the Balances page of the Employee Master File form. This page contains the sick, vacation, comp, holiday, and bonus balances. The bonus column can optionally be changed to personal. In the current balance row, enter the current balance for sick, vacation, comp, holiday, and bonus. The earned this year and used this year rows will be calculated when transactions are entered in the system. The based on factor can be calculated by dividing the hours earned per period by the total hours worked. If an employee earns 4.6 hours per pay period and works 80 hours that period, the based on factor would be 4.6 divided by 80, or 0.0575. The based on factor is used to calculate the sick and vacation hours earned per period. The based on factor is multiplied by the standard hours per pay on the demographics page or the actual hours worked, depending on your choices on the system variables form. The earned last period and used last period rows are updated when you make transaction entries in the system. The year-end close procedure updates the last year ending balance row. The current balances are moved to the last year ending balance during this procedure. When you make a new entry in the Employee Master File, enter the current balances in the last year ending balance row. You may enter a maximum vacation balance and a maximum sick hours per year on this page also. The Earned Since Anniversary row contains the last anniversary date and the vacation hours earned since that date. The program calculates these values. The year-to-date totals page of the Employee Master File form displays the total gross and total hours worked by the employee. Totals for each of the pay type categories are displayed on this page. The total overtime hours offered is also displayed on this page. This field is updated when entries are made in the Offered Overtime File form, Form 4. If your office needs to track deductions, click on the Deductions page of the Employee Master File. If the deduction is a percentage of the gross pay, it should be entered on the left side of the page. Enter the percentage of the deduction in the percentage column. If the deduction is a fixed amount, enter it on the right side of the page. Enter the fixed amount of the deduction in the amount per period column. The year-to-date columns will be calculated when transactions are entered in the system. The History page of the Employee Master File will allow you to keep a record of each pay increase for an employee. Right mouse click from this page will display a pop-up menu that will allow you to add, remove, or duplicate a record on this page. Unlimited comments regarding this employee can be entered on the Notes page of the Employee Master File. Increases received due to specific training may be tracked by clicking on the SEOP tab of the Employee Master File form. SEOP stands for State Emergency Operations Plan. Unlimited pay types, rates, and accounts may be entered for an employee by clicking on the Rates tab of the Employee Master File. Right mouse click will display the pop-up menu that will allow you to add, remove, or duplicate records. The entries displayed on this page are actually records in the Employee Rates file. You are not required to make entries on this page. The default pay rate on the demographics page will be used if time is entered using a pay type that has not been entered on this page for the employee. Entries should be made here when an employee works in multiple departments, has multiple pay rates, or uses multiple accounts. The employee rates file is used for data entry in the Daily Crew Worksheet and Payment Management systems. The Employee Rates file, Form 2, contains the records that are displayed on the Employee Rates page of the Employee Master File form. Records can be entered and changed in either place. Records can also be added to this file in the Daily Crew Worksheet and Payment Management modules. The information at the bottom of the form pertains to payroll, and the top of the form pertains to Daily Crew Worksheet and Payment Management. You may choose to use benefited rates for the regular and overtime rate displayed at the top of the page. The benefited rates will be used by Payment Management and Daily Crew Worksheet, and the payroll rates at the bottom of the page will be used by payroll. A right mouse click will allow you to create a duplicate record. This will make data entry faster when you are entering multiple records for the same employee. The employee identifier is used by Daily Crew Worksheet and Payment Management, and the employee number is used by payroll. The offered overtime file form, Form 4, will allow you to track overtime that is offered to your employees. Enter or select your employee number from the Employee Master File. Enter the total hours offered and choose whether the hours were accepted, refused, or there was no contact with the employee. The total hours offered field maintained in the Employee Master File will be increased by the total hours offered entered on this form. Employee requests for time off can be entered in the Leave Request file form, Form 5. A right mouse click from this form will allow you to create a duplicate record or print the leave request. Select or enter the pay type of the hours off at the bottom of the form. After your initial setup for payroll, most of your work will be done using Form 6, the Payroll Transaction File form. We'll discuss that form after we review the menu option Create New Pay Period Transactions. Form 7, the Department File form, will allow you to maintain a list of your departments. Form 8, the Standard Hours Table file, is used by a custom wage and time report and maintains the standard hours for each employee. Form 9 allows maintenance of the Time Clock Pay Type table file. This file contains the valid pay types maintained by your time clock software and the associated pay type in the Payroll Management system. The file is used by custom import procedures written for different time clock systems. Before looking at the Payroll Transaction File form, Form 6, let's look at the Maintenance menu option, Create New Pay Period Transactions. You will select this option to create the transaction records for each pay period. This screen will be displayed when you select the option to create new pay period transactions. The transactions you create using this menu option will be accessible from Form 6, the Payroll Transaction File form. Enter the beginning and ending date, the pay period, and the payroll pay date. Select a range of departments and a range of employee numbers to be included. If you select Yes to add bonus time this period, the number of bonus hours entered on the Based On factor row of the Employee Master File Balances page will be added to the transactions for the period being created. Pay period transactions can be created in two different ways. They can be retrieved from the Daily Crew Worksheet entries, or they can be created by the default values you have entered in the Employee Master File. If you would like to retrieve the entries from the Daily Crew Worksheet, change Retrieve Transactions from Daily Crew Worksheet to Yes. The Employee Rates file we previously discussed can have multiple records with different pay types for each employee. This would allow you to store multiple rates or accounts for an employee. It is also possible that you may have an employee rates file with just one record for an employee with the default pay type. When the employee is sick or takes vacation, you can simply change the pay type in Daily Crew Worksheet without choosing a different rate record. The selection Use Pay Rate from Employee Master File when pay type not found for employee will allow you to choose whether to use the employee rate from the master file or from Daily Crew Worksheet when creating payroll transactions. If the Daily Crew Worksheet entry is a miscellaneous pay type, the miscellaneous pay rate would be used from the Employee Master File if you choose to use that file. If you aren't using the Daily Crew Worksheet module or you don't want to retrieve the records from that module, you will be creating the payroll transactions using the default values in the Employee Master File. If you accept the defaults displayed in the second box on this form, transaction records will be created using the employee's default pay type and default hours per day. If you want to create transactions with the same number of hours for all employees on one or more days in the period, simply type in the number of hours under the day abbreviation. By default, the procedure will create transactions for Monday through Friday for the date range selected. If you are creating transactions for employees working 4 10-hour days, make sure the hours are 0 under Friday and remove the checkbox under the 0 hours. If you have entered leave requests that fall in the pay period, the pay type from the leave requests will be used for the days of the leave. If you click on the Browse Employees with Anniversary button, all employees with an anniversary date within the pay period will be displayed on the screen for you. From this screen, you can change their based on factor, which is used for calculating sick and vacation. Click the Continue button to create the transaction records for that pay period. For demonstration purposes, I'm going to create a payroll that begins on 9/29/13 and ends on 10/12/13. The payroll pay date will be 10/15/13. This payroll will be created using the default pay type in the Employee Master File. Now let's go to Form 6, the Payroll Transaction File form, and edit the transactions we just created. The Payroll Transaction File form consists of 4 pages: Summary, Detail, Deductions, and Notes. Bonus or personal time, holiday, sick, vacation, and comp totals are displayed on this page. The Current Earned column displays the values that are maintained in the current record. The Calculated Earned column displays the new values that have been calculated for the current transactions. These values will replace the current earned values if the record is saved and there are no overrides. The Override Earned column displays the override values that have been entered for this transaction. These values will become the current values if the record is saved. If you need to make an override value 0, enter all 9s in the override value field. Bonus or personal and holiday earned are not calculated fields. To add hours to the balance of these items, enter the hours in the current column. The Used column represents hours used during the pay period. The Balanced column represents the current balance of hours. The Gross column on the bottom displays the total gross for the period, and the Hours column displays the total hours for the period. If the employee is salaried, the salary will be displayed in the Salary Other Adjustments field, and the account will be displayed beside it. Let's click on the Browse button at the bottom of the form and find the records we just created. The Browse selection screen allows you to select a range of pay dates, departments, employee numbers, and employee names. The payroll transactions we just created had a pay date of 10/15/13. Enter 10/15/13 in the From and To dates on the selection screen to display only the transaction records that were created for this pay date. For demonstration purposes, I'll choose to sort the transactions by employee name and date. These are the payroll transaction records we just created for the pay date 10/15/13 displayed in the Browse window. You will need to change the transaction record for any employee who took sick or vacation time during the pay period. You will also need to add any comp time earned, if applicable. Put your cursor on the record you would like to change and press Ctrl and then W. This will allow you to edit the record. Let's say we need to change the transaction for William Eddy. I'll put my cursor on that line of the browse window and press Ctrl W. This is the summary page of the payroll transaction file form. William's based on factor for sick and vacation is 0.0575. His standard hours per pay period is 80. 80 times 0.0575 is 4.6 hours. Therefore, William has earned 4.6 vacation and 4.6 sick hours for the pay period. The 4.6 shows up in the current and calculated columns. We have not yet made any changes to the transaction record, so there is nothing in the override or used columns. His current balances are displayed in the last column. Without making any changes to William's transaction record, his gross pay is $2,736.80 for his standard 80 hours. Let's click on the Detail tab and make some changes to his payroll transaction. These are the default transactions that were created for William in this pay period. His standard pay type is Reg Foreman in the Employee Master File. This pay type is associated with the regular and overtime accounts displayed here. His standard hours per day is 8, and his default payroll is 2 weeks, Monday through Friday for the 2-week pay period. Since the cost category for this pay type is regular, his regular pay rate and overtime rate will be used for the transactions. For demonstration purposes, let's say William was sick on Thursday, October 3rd. I'll put my cursor on the pay type field of the 10313 transaction line and press F10 or double mouse click to display the available pay types. I'll choose the sick pay type in the pop-up by double clicking or pressing enter. There is no account associated with the sick pay type, so William's default account will be used for his sick time. When we change the pay type, the cost category will be changed to the cost category of the new pay type. If the pay type record contains account numbers, the account numbers will also be retrieved. Since the sick pay type in the pay types table file does not contain account numbers, the account numbers for the transaction will not be changed. The records for all non-regular cost categories will be color-coded on the detailed transaction screen. That will allow you to easily see non-regular time. A right mouse click will display the pop-up menu that will allow you to add, remove, or duplicate a record. Let's assume William also took a partial vacation day of 6 hours on 10/14/13. I'll put my cursor on the 10/14/13 transaction line and choose Duplicate Record. This will create another transaction record for 10/14/13 with the default values. I'll change the original transaction record for 10/14/13 to 2 hours for the 2 hours William worked. I'll change the new transaction record for 10/14/13 to the vacation pay type and change the hours to 6. Changing the pay type to vacation will leave the existing account numbers because the vacation pay type record in the pay types table file does not have associated account numbers. I'm going to enter 4 hours in the comp hours column on the 10/11/13 transaction record. These 4 hours will not be paid but will increase the comp time balance maintained by William. By default, the 4 hours will add 6 hours to William's comp time balance because comp hours are earned at time and a half. The last change I will make to this payroll transaction is a $150 uniform expense reimbursement. I will add the $150 in the Other Wages column and choose the Uniforms pay type. Uniforms does not necessarily have to have a pay type, but it will make it easy to identify when the uniform expense was reimbursed to the employees. If William had different rate records set up in the Employee Rates file, I could press F10 or double mouse click while my cursor was in any of the fields other than pay type, regular account, or overtime account and select from the available rate records. Click on the Deductions tab if you need to track deductions for your employees. The values from the Employee Master File would be displayed on this page if you had set up default deduction values and percentages for the employee. Click on the Notes tab to make comments for this payroll transaction. Now let's go back to the summary page and see what has changed. The sick and vacation hours earned did not change even though we had 4 hours comp time because I have chosen to use the standard hours when calculating sick and vacation earned. The 4 comp hours I entered show up as 6 hours earned because they were earned at time and a half. We see the 8 sick hours used and 6 vacation hours used in the used column and the corresponding balances in the balance column. The uniform reimbursement shows in the other wages and is now included in the total gross. To continue making changes to the records in the payroll, click the Browse button and choose Browse Previous Filter to return to the Browse selection screen using your previous selected values. You will be returned to the Browse window and can continue changing transactions for the pay period. Now that we've discussed the payroll transaction file form, let's go back to the maintenance menu and look at the other options. We created our default payroll by selecting the option Create New Pay Period Transactions from the maintenance menu. Another way to create the pay period transactions is to select the second option, Import Time Clock Transactions. If you have a time clock system that creates a file that can be stored on your computer, we can import that file into our system. To use this option, we would need to write a custom procedure for your particular file. The third option on the maintenance menu, Update Period Transaction Records, will allow you to change the pay type for transaction records on a particular day. This option will come in handy for holidays. If you select the option Update Period Transaction Records, this screen will be displayed. Enter the transaction date to be changed. Select the appropriate pay type for that date. Select a range of departments and employee numbers to be changed. In this example, we are changing the pay type to Holiday for all transactions on 10/11/13. This will eliminate the need to change each transaction record for the holiday that occurred on 10/11/13. If you are using the government accounting system, voucher records can be created for each payroll by selecting the option Create Accounting Voucher Records from the maintenance menu. One voucher record will be created for each account. The voucher amount will be the total payroll amount for that account. Please verify the account amounts by printing the Report by Accounting Budget code. The report should be printed prior to making this selection. The year-end close option should be selected after all period transaction records have been created for a particular year. This procedure simply makes a backup of the employee master file, moves the balances to last year ending balances, and clears the year-to-date totals. Select Recalculate Year-to-Date Totals from the Maintenance menu to recalculate the year-to-date totals stored in the employee master file. You can optionally recalculate the balances in the employee master file based on last year ending balances by selecting Yes to the prompt on this selection screen. In this example, I will recalculate the year-to-date totals and the balances for employee number 2. The first pay date of the year was 1/1/13 and the last pay date of the year was 12/31/13. Beginning with the last year ending balances, the balances will be recalculated by adding all time earned and subtracting all time used for the selected pay periods. The year-to-date totals will also be recalculated. These values will be updated in the employee master file. A variable number of employees may be chosen randomly from your employee master file by selecting the option Select Random Employees from the maintenance menu. Enter the number of employees to be selected and a beginning and ending class to be included. This option can be used for random drug testing or for any occasion when a random number of employees needs to be selected. The option Export Transactions for a Pay Period on the Maintenance menu will create an export file that can be imported by other payroll systems. This menu option was originally set up to create a file used by Harris Computer's Auditor payroll system, but it can be customized to work with other payroll systems also. The File Maintenance menu, the last option found on the top Maintenance menu, offers many maintenance functions that have been requested over the years. The options available on this menu provide a means of programmatically changing the data in multiple records or files, thus reducing the time required for updating the system when there is a need to change data. The employee pay rates are stored in the employee master file and also the employee rates file used by Daily Crew Worksheet, Fleet Maintenance, Sign Management, and Pavement Management. When personnel change the pay rates in the employee master file, select the option to update employee rates file with employee master file rates to eliminate the need to change the rates in multiple files. Another example would be a change of account numbers. The Change Account Codes menu option will change one account number to another in all files that store the account number, thus reducing the time to accomplish the task. These menu options are used as needed. Now let's take a look at a few of the reports that are available in the payroll management system by looking at the Reports menu. The Employee Master File Reports menu option currently offers 18 different formatted reports containing employee information. Many of the reports have been customized to meet the needs of specific customers. Enter the selection criteria on this screen to include the information of your choice. The available reports offer information regarding your employees. The balance of time reports are probably the most used reports on this menu option. These reports provide employee balances in several different formats. Refer to the documentation for a list of all available formats. The Employee Rates File Report is a listing of all the different rate records for each employee. The Pay Types File Report is a listing of your pay types sorted by pay type, description, or cost category. The Overtime Analysis Reports print reports of the overtime hours worked. In this example, only employees who worked 100 overtime hours or more will be included. I have entered 100 as the from number of overtime hours worked. I have chosen to include wages on the report and include comp hours earned as overtime hours. The Offered Overtime Analysis Report will allow you to print a summary or detail report of overtime hours offered. The report includes hours offered and hours accepted. The Timesheet Attendance Reports print reports of hours by day for each pay period. The Wage and Time Reports will allow you to print a detail, summary, or custom report for the time and wages of a pay period. Many custom reports are available in this option. This report is typically submitted to the auditor after each pay period. A detailed report of employee vacation, sick, bonus or personal, holiday, and comp time can be obtained by selecting the Employee History Report. Earned, used, and a rolling balance will be printed for each pay period. This is a good report to put in an employee's file at the end of the year. Select the Employee Deductions Report to print a detail or summary report of deductions sorted by employee number or name. The Reports by Accounting Budget Code will allow you to print a summary or detail report of payroll amounts by accounting budget code and date, or date and accounting budget code. If you are creating voucher records in the government accounting system, we recommend this report be printed prior to creating the voucher records to verify the payroll amounts are correct for each budget code. The Time Analysis Report allows you to print a summary or detail report by pay type. This is a good report for identifying when employees receive their uniform reimbursements. Select uniforms in the From and To pay types to produce a report of all uniform reimbursements. The Employee Leave Request Reports will allow you to print a list of leave requests or the application for leave. The Employee Pay History Reports will give you a listing of an employee's pay increases. These pay increases can be recorded in the Employee Master File. The Medicare Reports will allow you to calculate and print Medicare amounts for each employee. Deductions need not be entered in the transaction file to use this report. The report calculates the Medicare amount by multiplying the gross wages by the Medicare percentage. The Comp Analysis Reports will allow you to evaluate employees with an ending comp time balance within a selected range. Payouts will be calculated for all comp hours over a variable number of hours. The System menu on all SOFTWORKS modules provides the same function. For a description of the System menu, watch the System menu video. Thanks for your interest in SOFTWORKS Payroll Management System. For more detailed instructions on the program, please refer to the documentation.